Welcome to 99th Monkey Liberty News for Thursday, April 3rd, 2014. I'm sure you have all heard about the Fort Hood shooter, and from Infowars.com is an article and a video. Army admits Fort Hood shooter was on psychiatric drugs. And a couple Infowars reporters went to the press conference and asked the questions that brought out this information, that yes, he was on psychiatric drugs, like so many other, virtually, I think Natural News once had an article, something like 90% of all the mass shootings have been SSRI related. And this one is as well, that the drugs cause psychiatric breaks. From David Icke, Show Me the Money, Afghanistan in Ruins Despite Millions Pumped In by U.S. And this is an RT video. Just a reminder of how some of our money that funds our military is spent. And we've pumped millions of dollars in there and with no good result. Except maybe to a few whose pockets were lined. From the Times, Crackdown ordered on climate change skeptics. And you may have heard about this. Ministers, this is in Great Britain, ministers who question the majority view among scientists about climate change should shut up and instead repeat the government line on the issue, according to MPs. The BBC should also give less airtime to climate skeptics, and its editors should seek special clearance to interview them, according to the Common Science and Technology Committee. Yeah, don't give the opposing team any time to speak out their truth, because truth is dangerous, and it'll upset the apple cart of the people who are trying to impose things like Agenda 21 and carbon taxes on us based on this false climate change science. From the National Review, North Carolina State Board finds more than 35,000 incidents of double voting in 2012. North Carolina's Board of Elections found that tens of thousands of registered voters from the state have personal information matching that of registered voters in other states and appear to have voted in states other than North Carolina in 2012. In some cases, votes were cast under names of individuals who had passed away before Election Day. Will this become an issue? Will this even be widely recognized? Will anybody raise any kind of issues about this? It's a toss of the dice, because the news is not the news anymore, and alternative news really is the only place you can find real news. This was affirmed for me by the other day when the 8.0 earthquake occurred in Chile, and I began seeing tweets about it. I actually turned on the network news, scanned through different channels, even the weather channel, and could not find anything about an 8.0 earthquake that had just occurred. And it was even at the time when some local news was on live. Nothing about, no mention of the 8.0 earthquake in Chile. So we have to be the ones really who disseminate the news. And of course, there was another large earthquake in Chile yesterday, a 7.8. And this video from Dutch Sense caught my eye. Entire ring of fire showing wave activity. So I mentioned this yesterday. If you happen to live in a region that is prone to earthquakes, you might just want to check your earthquake supplies, make sure that you are prepared just in case. From ABC News, yeah, okay, here is some real news from mainstream news. U.S. secretly created Cuban Twitter to stir unrest. In July 2010, a government official flew to Barcelona to put the final touches on a secret plan to build a social media project aimed at undermining Cuba's communist government. So here's another example of, the U.S. government, the corporate U.S. government, the false U.S. government, the de facto U.S. government, trying to destabilize another country when we ourselves are becoming less and less and less stable every day. I found this article because Cynthia McKinney put it on Facebook. This is CPR News. Part 1 of our exclusive interview with top aide to former Malaysian Prime Minister. What is the U.S. hiding regarding Malaysian Flight 370? Again, more information that you are not going to see in the mainstream media, but yet is very significant. And I was talking with some friends the other day, when we were younger, when something significant happened in the world, the news actually used to break in on television programs, and you would, if something of import happened, you would find out immediately, even if you were watching a drama or a comedy or whatever, because they would break in with headlines. Now, of course, we don't need this because we have Twitter and other avenues, and it's a good thing that we do. Again, if we did not have alternative news, it would be very, very, very difficult to find out what's going on. This is from CNBC, again, a rare exception where they do have some real news. Crime inquiry said to open on Citigroup. And we'll see if this goes anywhere. It's a crime inquiry. Whether it will lead to anybody being prosecuted, sent to jail, remains to be seen. And from InfoWars, it's not just the stock market that's rigged. The entire status quo is rigged. And of course, there have been articles lately about, and I've mentioned a few, about more people are becoming aware that the stock market is rigged. And this especially caught my eye because the author mentions the story of the emperor's new clothes. In that story is so relevant because everybody is pretending that everything is fine. But as in that story, once the image is pierced, once the false facade is seen behind, nobody pretends anymore. There's no reason to pretend anymore. So it's really crucial that more people become aware openly and openly discuss what is really going on so that we can stop playing this game like everything's fine and address some of these problems. And this article really is in reference to a book that's called Flash Boys, A Wall Street Revolt. The high-frequency trading scam is old news, and a number of fine books have addressed the mechanics of the scam. And there are some other books referenced here. But again, what I want to emphasize is the emperor's new clothes. The game is rigged. Can we all please just say the game is rigged and stop playing the game? From Zero Hedge, Citi warns Unwise to short the dollar. Citi sees a number of parallels both in terms of the background dynamics and the course of events seen through the 1990s and more recently over the past 7 years. As Tom Fitzpatrick notes, these similarities are not confined to the U.S. economy, but incorporate developments on a global scale and strongly support their view that the US dollar should rally for about another 2 years. Well, this remains to be seen. It's possible that there could be some kind of an event, some kind of a global financial reset that might preclude the crash of the dollar. But even in a global financial reset, there would be revaluation of currency, and the dollar would very likely be revalued down. Some people, the figure I've heard the most is about 30%. But of course, this is one opinion that Citi offers here, and whether they're actually being sincere, maybe they want to be the only ones to short the dollar or get out of their dollar-based positions before the crash, before other people get out, who knows. From Blacklisted News is an alternative point of view. USA Today is a 1987 type market crash 37 days away. And this article offers some ideas about whether that might be so. Another Zero Hedge article having to do with the dollar. What about the dollar? Russia and Iran announced $20 billion oil for goods deal. So this is definitely, this deal is cutting out the world reserve currency, which is the US dollar. And this is real. This is happening. The nations like Russia, Iran, and some other nations, China, are significantly cutting back on their use of the dollar. And I'm not saying that Citi's wrong, that you should short the dollar. No, but it's probably not a bad idea to have a plan. And that's what this article by Fritz Springmeier on Mercy Triumphs is about. When cash and prayers fail, life-giving answers for the inevitable shocks when the dollar crashes. And Fritz does not use the word if, he uses the word when. And there's just a lot of deep information here, as always, with Fritz. He has insider information, and he's gracious enough to share. Now for some good news. Florida federal judge orders 9/11 reopened. FBI have no choice but to comply. So this is going to be reopened, evidently, an investigation of 9/11. And there's pressure to bring out the truth. And again, that's the emperor's new clothes. When we all start to say, hey, and I think this is naked. This doesn't add up. This doesn't make sense. These questions are unanswered. This evidence has been left out. The facade can crumble, and eventually we can demand a restoration of our constitutional republic, and hopefully all live happily ever after. And I have this with the good news portion of today's video. It's not really news. It's really a frame of reference. It's a way to see the world. From Ian Clayton, How to Frame Up Your World. In this podcast, Ian teaches on how to frame up your world by engaging in the kingdom of light and becoming the voice that shapes the physical world around you. Click on the play button and enjoy. And it really is a very good podcast, very inspiring, very helpful. And Ian is kind of a part of a new generation, although I think he's a baby boomer, but a new generation of Christian preachers who really see into the spirit realm and teach on how to interact with God in ways that can affect very positive change. that judgments can come and evil can be overthrown and replaced with justice and righteousness. And Ian Clayton tells us how to do that. Thank you for tuning in for today's 99th Monkey Liberty News. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. Hoping that you will love one another, take care, and insist on liberty.